So here we go. We are going to, first of all, change our units to millimeters. So go over here under Document Settings, drop that down, and go to where this little thing lights up, and go to millimeters, and hit OK. All right, now I'm going to create a sketch and put it on one of the planes. Doesn't really matter which one. And then we're going to make a general outline of our shape. And then after we make the outline, we'll dimension it and do all these different things over here to constrain it. So first, we'll just click Line up here. Or if you drop it down, just Line right there. But I'm going to click the link for it that's up here in my toolbar. All right. Then I go to the origin, and I click once. And I move over. I'm going to move over about 500 millimeters. So if you need to zoom out, do so. Now, you're not going exactly 500. Just anywhere around there is fine. All right. Click once again. Then move up and to the right a ways. Kind of like that. Somewhere in there. Doesn't have to be exact. Click again. And then go up this way. Now you can notice I have a little perpendicular symbol there, that little square in the corner. So I don't have it, and now I do. Eventually we are going to want it to be perpendicular, so if you want to move and keep it that way, that's fine. Move up here a little ways and click again. And come down this way. Somewhere in here. I wouldn't do this thing where it links up. I would, where it links up with the midpoint there, go a little bit past that or whatever, like in here, and click again. Notice I also have a perpendicular thing up in that corner there. Click, and then I'm going to go over until I get back to this line. Click again, and then down, and when I get back to my starting point and I click, the shape is enclosed, and so I see it turns tan inside. So, what we're going to do next is a series of constraints on this thing so that it gets to be the actual shape that we want. But we just made the general kind of rough shape right now. Okay. So let's go through some of these constraints. The perpendicular ones in mine already exist, but just to make sure, you would go down, if they didn't exist, you would click here where it says perpendicular, and if your sketch palette is not there, it might be minimized like this. So you can make it bigger and go to perpendicular, and what you would do is click this line and this one. Now that perpendicular is already there, so it didn't do much. In fact, it says the constraint has already been applied. So we're doing the same thing here and here and here and here, but it looks like all that's been done already. So, and this one it won't let you because it's already got other constraints associated with it. So if you try it there, you'll get a little error message. Say, don't worry about it. So that takes care of the perpendicular constraints. You probably already did it just like I did, just by making the shape. Now we're going to do horizontal vertical. That's down here. This is going to position a couple of things right above each other. So we're going to select these two lines, so one at a time. This one and this one. And it says it's already been applied. That's okay. No big deal. Then we're going to do escape. Actually, it says escape. Yeah, we'll escape. And that gets us out of that particular one. And then we're going to go to the equal constraint. This is going to mark two things as equal. So I click here, and then I go over and I want this little line here to be equal to this one. So I'm going to click them one at a time. This one and that one. And now they'll be equal. And we're also going to select this line here to be equal to this one down here. I take that back. Yeah, I think I did those two wrong. My apologies. The equal constraints go on. There we go. My apologies. On the printed instructions, if you're looking, and I just fell victim to this, be careful. The pictures are often the way the instructions came out. are on the next page from the actual instructions. My apologies for that. Because the ones that need to be equal, let's go down to equal, are actually this one and this one. There we go. That did it. Okay. And now we're going to actually dimension them. So I'll hit escape and see if I can get out of the equal constraint. There we go. I hit escape and notice this isn't highlighted anymore. And now I'm going to go to sketch dimension. For you, you might want to drop down all the way down to here and click on that. I've got mine pinned to the toolbar, and if you haven't watched or seen to do that, you go over to these little dots and you click on them and you say pin to toolbar, and it'll put it up there. So I click on that, and I'm going to dimension this bottom line here. Click once, move out to this way, and click again. We're going to call that 500 millimeters. Then, and hit enter, and that'll accept the value. Let's see, now we're going to create an angle dimension. So we're still in, this is still highlighted, and you can see that little symbol on the cursor there, the arrow. So we're going to click on this line, and we're actually going to dimension an angle. So then we're going to click on, come over and we're going to click on this line. And it automatically is going to set us to do this angle. So I click again, and I type 45 degrees. Hit enter. There we go. Now that angle's been dimensioned. All right, and now we're going to create an aligned dimension. So we're going to do upper right-hand line, this one, we're going to click. Actually, let me try that again. Sorry. Go back to dimension. And come over here. Make sure I get the right spot for you. I don't want to mess this up. Yeah, we're good. So we're just going to come up here. We're going to make this 100. So come up into this area. Don't go over here. We want to go like that. And click and make that 100. Notice, not only did it change, but so did this one because I defined them as being equal to each other. All right. And then we're going to hit escape to get out of that. Okay, now we're going to actually make these lines, this one here and this one here, into something called construction lines. They're not any good for extruding or press pulling, but they are there as a reference. So what we do, in this case, the way they tell us to do it, is click once on this line, and then come down and click, hold down Shift. So hold down your Shift key, and click on this line. Notice that selected them both. I said click on one, and then hold down the Shift key, and then click on the other. And then right-click. I would like to right-click on one of them, but I don't think you need to. Right-click and click on Normal Construction. So this is going to make it go from normal to construction type lines. And notice, if we look at them closely now, they're dotted. And construction lines will always be dotted. So you have two dotted lines at the end there, at the ends there. All right. We're going to put some circles there. So we're going to go up and select your circle tool, your center diameter circle tool. Remember that can be found, it's the first option under circle. Or in my case, I could have clicked right here. And you're going to hover over these lines. Now let's get in close here. Notice that at some point in here, a little triangle shows up. That means that you're at the midpoint, the center point of that little line. And that's what we want. So I click once, and then I move over until I lock on to one of these endpoints. See how it turns to a square? Click again. And I do the same thing down here. I get over it and look for the triangle. So not here, not there, but there. See the triangle? Click there, and then move out to one of these endpoints and click again. All right. Now we can, I think we've done that. We hit escape and we're good there. All right, now we're going to smooth out or round out these two corners. So we're going to go to Sketch, and we're going to select Fillet right here. And we're going to come over to each of these corners. So that corner, and then we're going to do this one. So we'll click on this one, and we're going to click on this one. And we want that fillet to be, according to the instructions, 100. And hit Enter. Now you'll notice a little thing popped up down here. That just pointed out that, hey, you know, if you want to do that, we can't really make that 500 anymore. You see how that's fine. This is what we want. So we're good. So we created that. And now we're going to head and extrude this thing. So or press pull it. So we're going to stop the sketch. I'm going to reposition mine a little bit. And we're going to right click, press pull. We're going to do all three. So this circle, this body here, or that sketch profile there, and this profile here. And we're going to go a distance of, if I read this correctly, 50 millimeters. And hit Enter. And then, hold on. All right, now we're going to put a sketch on the top of this. So I right-click on the top and I do Create Sketch. Okay, and we're going to put a couple of lines. So click on the Line tool and find the center of that circle. You'll know you're there because it'll turn to a little, a little circle will show up right like that. And we'll click once, and we'll move over to somewhere around the middle of this. Well, maybe like in here. And then I'm going to click again, and then I'm going to come up to the center here. Got to find that point up here. I believe, I want to make sure I get it onto the center of that circle. There, I think I believe someone will mess that up. Ah, there it is. See how it turns into a circle? That's what you're looking for. So don't be hasty. Look around for it. Be patient. Boom. All right. And then hit escape. Okay. Now we're going to turn those into construction lines as well. So we're going to click on one of them. And then how do we select the other one? You might remember. We are going to hold down the Shift key and click the other line. And right click and do normal construction. Okay. Then we're going to select parallel for, now I think this one is already parallel here, but we'll just do it. Go down over here to the right, and we're going to click on parallel, and we're going to select this line and the bottom. And I think it's already been done. And then we're going to click on this line and this side here and make them parallel. Unless, did that take? Let's try that again. There we go. That made them parallel. Okay. And I believe, we'll just double check, but I believe this and that are already parallel. Yeah. Okay. All right. And now we are going to create 3 circles, each of them 50 millimeters. So we click here, go to this point, make a 50 millimeter circle. Hit enter. And just do this. Just put a circle at this intersection point. Don't worry about how big it is. Just click anywhere. And then come up and do one at this corner. Click once in the middle and then once out here somewhere. It doesn't matter where. And while we're at it, let's put one at the midpoints here of these lines. So once again, you're looking for that triangle. There it is. When you see the triangle, you click once, move out a ways, don't worry about how far, and click again. And do the same thing on this line. We're going to find that triangle. There it is. Click once, and then click again. All right. Now, we all want all those circles to be the same. There's a few ways you could do it. We're going to use the equal constraint. So we're going to go down to here, the bottom there of your palette, and click on equal. And then we're going to click on this first circle that we already dimensioned, and this one. Boom. And then we're going to click on that first one, and this one. And then we're going to go on this one, and this one. And lastly, we're going to go on that first one, and that one. And now they're all equal, and if I change one, they'll all change. Okay, so having done that, we're going to stop the sketch, and we're going to press pull those circles all the way through. So we right click, do press pull. Did I hit press pull? I don't think I did. Right click, press pull. And by the way, I'm going to just show you this now real quick. If you notice, see how press pull is in the upper right hand corner there? All right. If you right click and move real quickly to the upper right, let's see if I can do it. There it is. See how press pull shows up? Yeah, we'll do that again. So I know it's if I right click, it's up here in this upper right. So if I right click and move up and right real quick, press pull pops right up. And then I select my circles, this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And I want to go, instead of distance, I want to go through all, and we're going to flip it, and we're going to hit OK. All right, and at that point, we're done. All right, you can successfully made that shape. Please save it as, we'll hit save, and we'll call it, we'll keep it simple. Let's call it construction and constraint. All right, and that way we'll know what we're talking about there. All right, and hit save, and you're good to go.